Okay, welcome everybody to the Science of Forgiveness. My name is Hina Udwani. I am a Tao calligraphy practitioner. I'm an optometrist. I'm a soul healing teacher, Kuan Yin lineage holder, Tao science messenger, and a Tao soul communicator, which basically means I have access to the Akashic records, which is very rare. And yeah, and I'm just honored to have all these credentials. So today's introductory session for all those, I'm just making a recording for all those who signed up and couldn't attend live because it seems to be a consistent request for people to receive the recordings. So we're going to go ahead and jump into what this program is about and the importance of forgiveness. So let me go ahead and just pull up a quick PowerPoint slide because a lot of the times people have always assumed that forgiveness is one of those intangible or unqualifiable practices that either only spiritual people do or religious people do, and it really doesn't have a valid effect on our reality, on our physical health, on our mental emotional well-being. But this program is focused on the science of forgiveness, and it's a 4 week or four class journey through the Tao, neuroscience, and the heart. Because the heart and actually our minds are intimately related. In traditional Chinese medicine, which Dr. Master Sha has gone even a few steps further, is one of the core principles is that the mind is housed in the heart. The soul or the information and the mind is housed in our hearts. So one thing that we will immediately able to recognize in our physical world is that many people, as they get older, and some even young ones, heart attack is a common way to transition. I think we can all name at least one person, if not more, in our families or extended families that have passed away because of the heart. And the heart is actually the boss organ, the highest authority organ of our physical bodies, which means the heart is really important. It is also connected to our message center, the fourth chakras. And the message center is exactly that. It's a center where we hold all the messages. So we can hold either positive messages or we can hold negative messages. Positive messages are forgiveness, compassion, love. And the more positive messages we hold in our heart, actually, the more, or in our message center, the easier it is to forgive. And what I'm trying to do is bridge that gap between all these esoteric or qualities of compassion, forgiveness, these characteristics. How does it really bridge to our physical well-being? How does it physically affect our body? Last year, I did one with the focus on anger, and we went deeper into the physical manifestations of anger that everyone has experienced. And science has already shown that it releases hormones that really actually drain our body. These hormones are going to slowly wear and tear our physical organs. It also decreases our resilience. It increases our stress, and that all affects our body. Hormones are also messages, they're messengers of the message. So, we are going to go to the very root cause of not only the causes of issues, but also the subtle layers, and then eventually what also can manifest in our physical lives, either in our bodies or outside of us. our external environments. Welcome, Gloria. So we're really going to pay attention to all the tools that we have available. And we're going to go through down that universal creation chart of soul, heart, mind, and body. Body is energy and matter, and then the soul is the information or the messages. The heart is the receiver of the information. The mind is the processor of information. And where I come in is really bridging between the mind, um, and then the heart, and but also affecting the matter, the energy and matter manifestation, because a lot of us, we can feel, we can experience the expansiveness of unconditional love when we love somebody, or if we look at a puppy or a little baby, we really feel the just all just the warmth. So we experience that, and that's emotional and in our heart. A lot of us have to kind of bridge the gap in accepting the validity by going through the mental aspect, because a lot of our blockages are mental, whether it's conscious or subconscious. A lot of our blockages are on the mental aspects. And this is where we can get either, if we control it, we can really speed up the results, or we can really slow down the results. So we could technically have the positive messages, the information on in the soul level and in our heart level, but unless it goes through the mind potentially blocks those messages from manifesting on an on a physical, on a manifestation level. And when I say manifestation level, that means not only in our physical bodies but our physical experiences. We physically experience emotions or imbalanced emotions. We physically see an event happening. We're physically part of a situation, or pleasant and unpleasant. So it's really getting to that root of why we're resonating with these experiences or relationships or finances, and what we can do to use that information that is mirroring to us in our physical environment, and learning how to be empowered to take a pause, to take a step back and figure out, well, this is showing up. So, what is the message for me and how to transform it? When we go through the science of really seeing that these emotions, like the compassion factor, the gratitude factor, when we feel these emotions, our body physically um, ex, um, it excretes dopamine, which is a happy hormone. Just like when we exercise, we get endorphins, which is another happy hormone. When we feel love, we feel oxytocin, which is, it's called the love molecule or the love hormone. But it starts from our emotions, but it actually starts from the information level at the very root level, which right now science isn't looking at because we have nothing to physically measure it. So just really quickly for I think almost everyone here is probably already quite versed in the importance of forgiveness practice. And I think, let me see. Is anyone, I don't think anyone here is totally new. Everyone here knows about forgiveness. For Gloria, I know for sure. Groups, yes. Nalini, how often do you do forgiveness practice? Are you familiar with it? You can unmute. Oh, Maria Luisa's joining again.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Yes, thank you.
And
I'm a Taoist practitioner. Yes.
perfect. Okay, I knew you were. Okay, and Nalini said yes, often, thanks. And Gloria said yes. And Gloria is also a retired nurse, so she's familiar with how all these emotions can really affect our physical bodies. So so basically this program is structured because all of you already have some um you already have experience in what is forgiveness practice. You know the importance of forgiveness practice. So what this program does, it goes one step deeper. It goes deeper into figuring out how to manipulate our physical body into how to trigger our heart openings even more, ways to anchor ourselves, or as soon as we start getting uh, imbalanced emotions, what is that factor that we can call on to remember to stay grounded, to stay calm, and to deal with the situation that's in front of us, or what emotion is coming out inside of us. So it helps both ways. And sometimes understanding the science of it can also help. So the way the four class program is structured is first we're going to go in week one, or class one, we're going to go into the neurobiology of forgiveness. We're going to explore deeper the brain heart connection, learn how resentment impacts health. We're going to do a practice for this class. We're going to trace Da I, and we're going to practice heart brain coherence breathing, which means basically as we're breathing, we're gonna focus on aligning our mind, our mental body with our heart, and really going deep into forming that physical connection so we recognize it. So we know when we're getting triggered, we're aware and we realize it a lot quicker. But then because we've worked on this connection, the heart brain connection, not just on a spiritual level, not just spiritual talk, but we're physically gonna go deep into working with this connection. So it gets stronger and stronger. Just like any pattern or habit gets stronger the more we do it. The A person who trains or runs 1 mile, 2 miles every day, then can slowly go up to 36 miles a day and do their marathon. This is the same type of program that I'm trying to formulate here. So slowly, we're going to start slow, but we're going to really strengthen that connection. So in every moment, we're still, but we're aware and we're moving at the same time. We're doing what we need to do, interacting with the world, but then we have a tool that we call on a lot quicker. So the heart brain coherence breathing is really important to formulate that connection. So and make that connection a lot stronger, a lot more connected. We're also going to do some journaling and some gentle qigong, which is basically similar to what we do when we practice with Tao calligraphy, but these are just like basic qigong exercises. Once again, to help with that heart-brain coherence and then move it into our body movements. So it's not exactly tracing Tao calligraphy, but it's gentle movements. So we are breathing with certain movements in our body, and we're opening those connections between our organs, between the movement, and we're formulating information systems or highways between the different aspects of our body. And then journaling, because with every class, we want these connections to be stronger. And we want something that we can see, like, okay, this program is taking effect. It's effective. I'm changing, it's influencing me. So journaling is very important just so you can actually experience and read, and then you can go back and see your progress. It's about accountability and it's about really going deeper into the practices. So week two is emotional alchemy. So we're going to do an exercise where we map the emotional pain in our body. So a lot of the times we'll have different types of body aches, like lower back, or all of a sudden your knee will start hurting, your eyes will start hurting. So we're going to, in our class number two, we are going to be focusing on our physical body, going into our physical body, seeing where the pain is. And then we're going to go backwards into what is that root cause of the pain and how can we shift the pain. When we're doing a lot of these practices in the Tao calligraphy field, I think all of you already have experienced pain, but have we gone to why are we getting the pain? Not just emotional, but physical. But why are we getting the emotional pain in the first place? Where did it come from? Why is it in that particular part of the body? So we're going to be doing like an emotional body map. So, like in Master Sha's books, he also teaches this. In Da Kuan Shu, he writes that whenever people have relationship issues, they will often have pain in their lower back. So we're going to go deeper into our specific and individual blockages. And this is very important, especially if you have a weakness in your physical body, but especially if you have a tendency to be emotionally imbalanced in one sort of aspect. Like, do you have depression? Do you have anxiety, anger issues? Do you worry a lot? Are you sad? So, are you fearful? Fear and anger are two of the biggest ones. So, we're going to map the emotional pain. And of course, then we're going to trace down calligraphy to transform it. Because there's no point in knowing why we have an issue if we're not going to transform it. We're all about transforming it. We're also going to go back into inner child visualization and forgiveness because, again, a lot of the issues that we're experiencing in our adult lives have actually been triggered when we were really young and past lifetimes, but we forget. So, past lifetimes, yes, we've forgotten, but sometimes even when we're young, little children, we our brain to protect itself will lay it in the subconscious and we'll forget, but it keeps popping up. And until we get to that point, we're just dealing with it. We're just experiencing the suffering. So we need to do something to help release it, to transform it. So we're also going to be doing again the Qigong gentle exercises. These are beginning steps, nothing like the fancy, they have different types of movements and steps and all that. This is just gentle movements and breath work for emotional release. And then, of course, if you feel called to open-hearted to share, you can share what was that childhood trauma, or if you have an insight in a past life and you want to share it in the group, more than welcome to do that. If you don't want to, we stick it in our journal and we write it down because every realization that heaven allows us to get, it is such a precious gift that by writing it down, sometimes maybe we don't have time to go deep into it at that moment, but we can always go back to it. Because if heaven gives us a message, if our own mental body, if our physical body gives us a message, and we kind of just write it down and then ignore it, it hasn't been transformed. There's a reason they have brought it to our conscious mind. And it's not to just put it on the side, because that is something that needs to be looked at. It needs to be heard, it needs to be seen, and then it will be transformed. And yeah, sometimes sharing in the group, people will learn from each other. And when you share your emotional trauma, it is healing. When you can speak about it in, of course, a safe space and everything will be confidential, of course, it's a way of healing. So it's not a way of going deeper into the pain and then going into complain mode or saying because of this person my life didn't turn out this way. That's not what we want. We want positive results, and we want everyone in the group, of course, to learn and have a good time. So when it's time to share, and if you feel called to share, it will be for healing purposes, not for complaining purposes, which sometimes people do tend to do. So we want to keep it very positive because again, everyone is there to transform and be more positive. We don't want to attract more negative. So that's very important. And everything you learn in these classes are tools that you can take for basically rest of your life because these tools are timeless. But sometimes mentally knowing what's happening makes the spiritual practices, even more powerful. And week 3, the frequency of forgiveness. So we're going to explore sound and cellular memory. There are many people who are now using sound healing. That is a real thing. And there are many academies and certifications out there for sound healing, which of course with Master Sha we're all familiar with. But we're gonna go deeper and actually go into the memory of the cells that are holding the trauma and help it release. And we have like a demo chant there. And of course, this we might move depending on how the class is progressing. And then we're going to do a forgiveness writing and a ritual because sometimes when we do a ritual, just lighting a candle, writing a letter, it makes it more real because there are times when we can't reach the people who hurt us. Maybe they've passed away. Maybe we don't want to talk to them physically in the human form. Sometimes writing a letter and doing a small ritual is healing as well because everything is a soul. And if you think about them, they're receiving the message on a soul level. And you're also going to be getting your healing. So sometimes people can heal just by saying, by standing up and telling the person, you know, what you did to me during this time, it offended me, it hurt me. I didn't get over it. You called me fat when I was like 6 years old, and it took me years to get over it, and obviously I'm still holding on to it. So things like that, sometimes just having a really deep look at what are the issues, what am I holding on to, what can I forgive? Because forgiveness is always about freeing ourselves. It's never about the other person, it's all about us. Because if we truly want to heal, we have to forgive and we have to let go. So in week or class 3, we are going to be focusing on sound and really feeling the sound, hearing the sound with our body, with our pores. Some people have this natural ability, some people need to learn it. But again, it's just about giving you knowledge and then the experience so then you do it yourself. So when you're practicing, you can do it yourself. And then class 4, we're going to be doing focusing on the calligraphy of Da Kuan Shu. We're going to be embodying what we've learned. Now, quantum journaling is something new and unique. And what it is, it's basically what have we been focusing on for the first 3 classes. So it's really one of those new techniques that I think is something that's going to be really groundbreaking. Um, it's just future manifestation. Quantum journaling is not what you are seeing right now with your current eyes in your current place, but it's where do you want to be? And and just going into the mind of your future self. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not easy, but that's why we're going to do it in the field, a higher dimension field. So we can actually, what we're doing is we are giving ourselves messages from the future backwards because we're actually connecting with our future selves. What would the future skinny self of me tell me right now? What would the future successful self of me tell me right now? And it's kind of like working backwards. Like this is the result I want. Now how can I get to it? This is a way where we are combining quantum. There is there are other teachers who do teach a quantum method where they communicate with themselves from the future and past, but at the same time because there is no time. But what's unique about this is that I'll be leading you through when we are in the Tao calligraphy field, which is a higher dimensional field. So it's a lot more powerful. And that's why it's also important to journal because you will see hopefully personality shifts, you'll see your heart open more, and hopefully you'll see healing because that's really what we're here to do. We're here to heal. Once we actually can shift our personalities or our characteristics or tendencies or habits or patterns or negative information, we will be embodying grace. We will be embodying the characteristics of the 10 field. We'll be embodying forgiveness. We'll be embodying love, embodying unconditional forgiveness, unconditional compassion, and all the other ones. And then, of course, we'll have just a last class because we want to share our insights, learn from each other. We want to celebrate because not all of this is going to be fun and amazing. We are going to be doing some shadow work, which is work in going into our negative information. But that's what also different labels, different names. But essentially, when we work with our teacher, Master Shah, we are going into our negative information. We're experiencing our negative information. We're looking at our negative information so we can transform it. Tao Science with Dr. Rulin and Master Shah, they themselves, especially Dr. Rulin, consistently says we want to look at it, we want to observe it, we want to feel it, we want to be aware of what's it, the negative information, the shadow, and we want to transform it. We want to bring it love and light. So we're going to be doing a combination of many things. And I do say week 1, 2, and 3, but I think it'll be classes because we might have classes one every 2 weeks because we're going to have homework. Um, and again, this is what I briefly touched on before. Forgiveness is freedom. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner was you. Forgiveness is always, always, always about us. What can't we get over? What have you tried so many different things to transform, and yet the same pattern keeps repeating? Are you ready to really go deep, to have someone lead you into going deeper into your past lives, into your physical body, into your mental body, your emotional body, and help you transform it? Because many things can come up. And like I was saying, touched on briefly before, I keep jumping, I'm sorry about that. But it is a way of working with our negative information, not against it and not fighting with it, but looking at it and working with it to transform it, to release it. Because then the negative information will get transformed, those blocks will get transformed, and you'll get transformed. And sometimes we're so stuck in our cage, we can't see how can I think about it in a different way? Or what's the message that I need to hear that will help me release it? What's the blessings? So in this program, you get everything. You get the direction, you get the blessings, you get the Tao calligraphy field, you get the guidance from me. And it's one of those types of programs where you just focus on you and your healing and your journaling. And then you will see the progress as you go deeper. And it's just to exponentially help your progress so you can manifest what you want in your life, or at least have a big enough shift where you can continue with your own tools. Many of you are Tao hands practitioners already. Many of you already have your own calligraphies. So that's why the program is set up the way that I received, that I was guided to set it up. So you'll have the inclusions, you'll have weekly personal readings for focus for that class that week, which means I will tell you, you tell me what is the main issue that you are trying to transform, and I'll do a reading every single week for some aspect of what that issue is that you need to work on for that week and that whole week, no matter where you are, which practice you're doing, if you're doing, Instagram blessings or whatever it is, that one aspect for that week, 1 or 2 weeks. You'll have the 4 wisdom classes. So I showed you the classes already. And so each class will be based on that structure. We'll have 2 breathe in, breathe out sessions, 2 tracing sessions. And also, I'll be sending you a recording of a forgiveness practice for each of your aspects that you need to transform. So I will lead you into a forgiveness practice. and you just listen to it every day for that week or 2 weeks. So it's really nothing you need to think about too much. Everything is handed to you. You just have to show up, do your journaling, and basically, yeah, and basically just enjoy. Because even though sometimes doing shadow work or going through our negative information, sometimes it's not the most pleasant. It's not the most pleasant to look at our mistakes. But if we're going to progress, if we're going to grow, if we're going to heal, then heaven has decided already. These are the things that Hina needs to transform. This is what she needs to know. And heaven has also decided this is what Hina will be forgiven for. So if she does the practice, she'll get forgiven for it, and that's fine. She doesn't need to learn anything. It was just a matter of sending more light to a specific area of her body or emotion. And she doesn't, and it's fine. She doesn't have this pattern, or she doesn't need to learn the lesson for this because it wasn't intense. It wasn't connected to this soul lifetime or purpose. So I'm going to sift through all of that for you and give you a very structured, this is what you focus on. Don't need to think too much about it because, again, the mind can either really, if it's open, free us, or if it's not, block us. So sometimes you need someone who is looking a little bit further down than you can see to tell you, no, don't go that way, go that way. Because if you go that way, then you're just circling, circling, circling. So that's the benefit of this program. And again, it's one of those. Is there a recording for part one? Gloria, I will send a recording of all of this, of this talk, um, for people who maybe didn't get the link or whatever it was. But forgiveness is such an important aspect. And for years, I thought I was doing forgiveness. I really thought I was doing forgiveness practice every day. And not until I really started growing my awareness and being in the blessings, the field practice, serving, teaching, did I realize that, maybe I was doing forgiveness in the words on a certain level. But was it true forgiveness? Was it deep enough? And honestly, for most of us, it really isn't. And I mean, I'm including myself as well. You can always go deeper. But the truth is that if no one is suffering in any aspect of their life, then they have gone deep enough in their forgiveness. If there's an aspect that you are suffering or struggling with, then you really haven't. And we need to work on it. And there's certain reasons and causes of that suffering. Like I said before, sometimes it is because we need to know something and learn a lesson, in which case the guidance will be there for you because I will say, well, this is what heaven says you need to work on because it's being brought to your attention. Sometimes it's because we don't have enough love or light for that area, which then again, you're going to have to breathe in, breathe out sessions, the tracing sessions to receive the virtue for those blockages that want that love, that light, they want the virtue, and then they go on with their soul journey. Then you also have those aspects of the life that some of us, we don't even know. We have no clue, like, why am I suffering in this? Some of us don't even know we're suffering. But it's like, okay, I've been in this job making a decent amount, what we think is a decent amount. But it's like, no, actually you were destined to make twice as much, but you've blocked yourself. And so it can get very, very sophisticated and complicated, but that's what we're here to do. So basically, this program will give you everything. And also figuring out how to use your body, forming that connection with, yes, your brain and your heart, but also how to read your body, how to really ground yourself in your body. A lot of spiritual practitioners are not grounded. They will love to see like the visualizations and um all everything in the spiritual world, but our body physically tells us messages all the time. But if we're not grounded in it, we're not receiving it, we're not receiving the messages. And we need to, because we want to live long, happy, healthy lives, which means we need to be grounded in our body. So basically, we'll be getting more in a physical connection with our emotional mental body, and then also the spiritual, and aligning everything. That's why in class number 3 we are going to be chanting Shinchi Jing He, which means soul, heart, mind, and body aligns, all meld in one. So I'll stop the recording for now, and then I'll answer any questions for anyone here. Okay, so I'll stop the recording.